Good evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you find yourself to see this, everyone. We're here for another edition of the HBCU Pigskin Podcast, and we got our emergency quarterback or lineman, if you will, and Coach Downing, who came in on very short notice. We're glad to have him. Of course, we got Coach Williams. I'm excited for the show. We got some good discussion and two great guests. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Doing good.
How about you, old man?
How you doing? Appreciate you doing this, Coach.
Of course, of course.
Yep. If you saw our first episode, you saw Coach Downing he electrified our show, gave great insights, and now we're bringing this, to this discussion too, due to some unforeseen circumstances. We're excited to have him on. So on the docket, we got some position discussion. We're going to continue that a little bit this week on the offensive side of the ball, and then we're going to carry it on to our guests. So you guys ready to start off this position discussion?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, okay, there we go. There's a list. So, just going to read the list off really quick here. We got Aquil Glass of Alabama A&M, Jet Duffy of Hampton. Week 1, he was on our show. Bryce Witt had a great showing in the Legacy Bowl out of Chowan. Jawan Pass, the one-time successor to Lamar Jackson at Louisville. We got Jeremy Hickbottom, the former Grambling and Tennessee State quarterback at number 5, who also had a great showing at the Legacy Bowl. Felix Harper, great scrambler out of Alcorn State, Shannon Patrick out of Bethune-Cookman and also formerly Arkansas Pine Bluff. Jawan Carter, one of my favorites, out of Norfolk State. Jerome Johnson out of Bowie State, following the steps of Amir Hall, that great quarterback that was invited to the NFLPA All-Star game a few years ago. And number 10, good friend Neil Boudreau, punter / quarterback / wide receiver / holder from Morgan State. So what do we think about this list, guys?
I guess I'll go first. I've been talking to a bunch of people, and they've been talking about wondering how many quarterbacks are going to get drafted from HBCUs this year, and a lot of guys are kind of thinking that Aquil Glass is going to be the only guy that gets drafted. But I think with this being a kind of a weird quarterback class this year, even when you add in what's going on with the Power 5 guys, I don't necessarily think getting drafted is what's going to get guys, holding on to jobs in the league. I think as long as this group of kids can get into camp and get a true opportunity with a team that needs their particular skill set, I think there's a bunch of kids that can get into camp and actually make some teams and even possibly be on some practice squads. I'm a real big Jet Duffy fan. I think Jet Duffy is as talented as they come. He may come in a smaller package, right? He's a little bit smaller guy, but he can do a lot of things with his feet. And the kid is truly got elite talent, having gone through the Texas Tech system. He's really truly a Power 5 type talent. So I think some people may be underestimating what Jet Duffy can do. I think that same thing happens to Jawan Pass. Jawan Pass is a guy, like you said, he was at Louisville, spent some time, backing up Lamar Jackson. So I think he's a guy that the kid can play, man. So there's another one. You get in camp, and, you never know what could happen with him. I really like also Jeremy Hickbottom. I think, his career started at Grambling, finished at Tennessee State. And I think he's a guy that could surprise some people too. But when it comes to testing numbers and body size and arm length, hand size, all that stuff, he looks like a pro quarterback when he walks in the room. So I think, those guys, are guys that'll get some real chances. And then, Bryce Witt, although he's not from truly an HBCU, because Chowan does play in the HBCU conference, I think, he's a kid that's got some ability too. So I don't necessarily think getting drafted is going to be what happens for a lot of these kids, but getting in the camp and getting going, some guys will get some chances.
Yeah, no, I agree. I second that, Coach. Of course, there's so much buzz about Aquil. Getting to see Jet up close and the way he carries himself, he definitely carries himself like a professional. We talk about the versatility of Neil, but I don't know if you guys saw in our game specifically. I don't know how, I don't know when it happened, but we slid Shannon Patrick in there at DB on that last snap. So. Wow. And he actually held his own for that one play, hopefully we get to see these kids get some chances. It's no secret I love all these kids to get as many opportunities as they can, but I would say Akil Glass is probably the steal out of this group. And again, Jet carried himself very well. Got to see him on the bus to the airport, that charter bus. He carried himself well. Got to see him sling it a bit in practice, and he's definitely got pro caliber written on him. And Coach, I would agree with your assessment about Juwan and hit bottom as well. So.
Great insights, coaches. I gotta say, so I guess before we send off to the next position, yes, Aqeel Glass looks like the crown jewel of the class, mostly because the system he played it and his size. Of course, even to this day, where we see shorter quarterbacks sort of, do good in the league. Size matters less, but he's still got that sort of, I guess, pro quarterback build that you think of. Jett Duffey, I really agree. I think, honestly, Jett Duffey may have the easiest path, I think, as a free agent because, I'm sure we all can see him going to Arizona, a reunion with Coach Cliff Kingsbury. It makes too much sense, honestly. So just that note on Jett Duffey, too. Really electric, too. Great wide open system at Hampton that benefited him well. Again, like I said, Bryce Witt did well in the Legacy Bowl. Two more prospects that sort of fascinate me are Felix Harper, a really great playmaker at Alcorn State. I'd love to see what he can do, especially in this era of the NFL where, let's be real, guys. If this were like 2005 or even like 2010, they'd be moving to receiver, honestly. But I'd love to see what he would do in the preseason. Juwan Carter, again, I'm going to harp on Juwan Carter at Norfolk State. Almost led them to a MEAC title, their first bowl appearance since 1975. His play style reminds me of Baker Mayfield in college. Similar build to Baker Mayfield, more wide open style of play, and he scrambles to throw the ball and not really scrambles to run, in my opinion at least. So that's my take with Juwan Carter. Really excited about him. Frankly, they should be higher, but I'm not gonna throw shade on this list. And then Neil Boudreau. Honestly, I want to know if you guys think that he can kind of build into a sort of a Taysom Hill type guy where you can fit him anywhere. Guys like willing to play anywhere. Of course, he played receiver. At San Diego State, safety of San Diego State. I can see him being a Taysom Hill type guy for whatever team needs him.
I can see that too. I think he played some receiver in the Legacy Bowl practice week.
Yeah. He did. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for this group. And here we are on cue, the running backs. We got Kingston Davis, a big back who gets stronger, honestly, as the game goes on, as the stats show. Ezra Gray also had him on the show. Explosive runner out of Alabama A&M, similar guy to Maurice Jones-Drew, excuse me. Isaiah Todd at North Carolina Central, back who can carry the ball really well over the game, excuse me. Jermaine Martin, which I'll have a little bit to say about Jermaine Martin. I'm excited about him as a pro prospect despite having a down year this year. Brett Silve, we talked about Kentucky State. If you love fullbacks, you love Brett Silve. Stafford Anderson, another bigger back out of Alcorn State who we had on the podcast. Ladarius Skelton, another fascinating prospect that I'm going to talk about a little bit as well in our rankings. And we got this great comment from Teddy Keaton blocking the rest of the rankings. It's great. Jett Duffey is that dude. Juwan passes a very close second, can play in any league, period. So thanks, Teddy, for that comment. There we go. So we have the rest of the list. Khalil Wilkins out of Bowie State. Malik Stevens out of Edward.
Coach Keaton's a head coach at Allen University. Really, really good friend, man. So he appreciate him for watching in with us tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, great company. And then, of course, to round out the list, Don Shell Jetton out of Fayetteville State. And I'm going to recuse myself from making a J. Cole reference there. So what do we think about this running back list, guys?
I'm just going to talk about just a couple of them. I really think Kingston Davis is the best of the crop, and that's not to say that these other kids, can't be pros, because as much as I think Kingston is the big back kind of pounding guy, best of the group, I also think that Ezra Gray is the versatile, quick, slashy guy, best of the group that can do a lot of things. So, man, I'm really excited about this running back group. I kind of think the running back group, may be the deepest group of all, at least on the offensive side of the ball. But Kingston Davis, man, if you look at his history and where he's been, he started out as a University of Michigan signee. He's a true D1, Power 5 type running back, man, that ends up at Miles College and was really productive. Man, his test numbers are off the chart, man. He goes anywhere 4.47, 4.50, 2.30-ish, so he's a guy that can pound it, and that in between the tackle style is, I think, something that would last him in the NFL, for a good career. So I think, and to be honest with you, I mean, as I compare him to Jermaine Martin, I think Jermaine had a really, really big year his junior year, and came in with all of the hype, right? I mean, and I don't necessarily know that everybody kind of digs into all of the crevices of HBCU, but if you're comparing Kingston Davis to Jermaine Martin, I don't think, no slight to Jermaine Martin, but I think Kingston Davis is right there, if not maybe 2-3 steps ahead. So I think Kingston's going to be a pro. I think Ezra Gray is a guy that can do so much. We compared him to Tariq Cohen. I think he's a guy that's going to be fine. And sleepers on my list are Brett Silva and Stafford Anderson. Two other big body in between the tackle type guys, which is what NFL people like to see. I mean, so I think this is a group that you're going to see a bunch of these kids not only get shots, but a bunch of these kids stick around.
Yeah, I second that, Coach. I mean, Kingston Davis obviously is the easy answer. Being in the quote unquote promised land of D1, he's got the experience of big time football. Ezra has made the most of his opportunities. Of course, how I feel about Brett. He won MVP for us in the game, and we played him in the fall at Edward Waters, and he reminds me. I'm reaching way back here, but he reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles from a frame standpoint. But I think that he can really get going out of the backfield and be a multi-purpose guy and get a lot out of. One of the guys I'm excited to see the transition for is Skelton. Was rostered at quarterback for us in the game.
Yeah.
Did a lot of things carrying the ball. He even lined up a receiver in the game for us. Really interested to see how that transition of running back takes for him. And of course, being a homer, I gotta shout out Malik Stevens from the Edward Waters University. I call him Mighty Mouse. That nickname didn't really take, but Malik showed some versatility out of the backfield, catching a few passes for us. So that was really an aspect of his game he hadn't really done a lot of at home at Edward Waters. So, but he was on full display with the coaching that we had in the All-Star game, and I think that's something to watch out for there as well. But Coach, I agree with your assessment and your pick. Spot on.
Yeah, Coach, I was waiting for you to shout out your guy. And we got a question from W. Earl Rose. Which back would be the better pass catcher? I'm gonna put in my input, and then I'll let you guys answer that one. So, agree completely with Kingston Davis being the biggest workhorse of the group. I think Jermaine Martin may have, I guess, the biggest ceiling because we saw what he could do with the performance he had in 2019 with NCAA&T. Just a great year. 1,400 yards with less than 200 carries, over 7 yards a carry. So explosiveness. Can carry a good workload as well. I like Ladarius Stone as well, just because of the story. I mean, you got a quarterback transitioning to running back, and it's not like durability is a problem because I'm going to bring up the 34 carry game against Prairie View in 2019. The last time we saw a guy carrying the ball that amount of times in college, I mean, I got to say it was like Ironhead Hayward, So, I like Skelton a lot there as well. I think Ezra Gray, if they can get him on special teams, that may be a way for him to get in the backfield. If he sneaks on a special teams as a kick returner or punt returner for a team, they may see his explosiveness and then throw some swing passes to him out on the side and just get him on the outside, get him in space. So that's my take in this running back class. And I love Brett Silva as well, too. I mean, he's played in a pro scheme. So him being in a triple option scheme shouldn't phase anyone. Fullbacks are awesome anyway, so that shouldn't phase anyone in the first place. That's my take.
Omar, for the sake of time, we'll pick up on the other positions on the next show when we get defense in there too. And let's get Michael in here. But got to shout out Coach Earl Rose. They're also a good friend of mine, offensive coordinator at Texas College, one of our fine HBCUs. So what's going on, Coach? We've got the coaching fraternity in here tonight.
You got all the friends, Coach. That's what it seems like. You got all the friends. You're Mr. Popular. It's great to see. It's great. It's great for the podcast. So I guess we're ready for our first guest. We have a defensive end by the first name of Michael from Texas Southern. It's not Michael Strahan, but it's pretty close. We got Michael Badejo joining us, who had a great showing at his pro day. Either I think it was today or yesterday. So we're excited to have him on, and we'll see if he's come on yet. There we go. I hope you caught on to the Michael Strahan comparison, Michael. That's part of my first question too. Excited to have you on, man, because I get to make a Drake reference, man. We got a player from TSU, so I mean, we're excited to have you on. So yeah, my first question, Michael, is I guess being a defensive end at Texas Southern, do they talk about Michael Strahan a lot, or is it just kind of like something that's in the past? Like you do your own thing, pretty much. Like you have your own style and swag to you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I appreciate y'all for having me on here, man. It's an opportunity. They always talk about Strahan, at the school. He came and gave us a Zoom call, during the COVID season with a lot of motivation and goals. When it comes to play like, I do see a lot of similarity with me and him playing alike. He's very violent, getting up to the ball. It's just the type of guy I see myself in, but he's a guy that definitely gives back. He gave us a lot of equipment from shoulder pads to helmets, jerseys. So, he is doing good for his city.
Absolutely. And then I have my next question before I move on to my colleagues here. I see the number one in the background. A lot of defensive ends wear the higher numbers. I mean, is there a sort of swagger that you carry with yourself wearing that number one as a pass rusher?
Man, it's huge. Even getting that from Coach McKinney, taking Southern head coach. After that spring practice, that last practice, he was like, how you feel about taking number one? And I was just like, dang, like I kind of wanted number 7, from SMU, but you give me number one, that's huge. So you saying that, I'm gonna go ahead and take that and take advantage of it. So I kind of like them little small digit numbers. Not no pretty boy stuff, but just playing with a swag, with a style.
No, it's great, honestly. I mean, I remember Temple, having all the single digit players, so it's the same energy. Playmakers wear single digits, and there we have your pro day results. Just a great showing as well. I mean, the 19 reps is truly impressive, honestly. The 40 time, I guess, which out of which of these measurements do you feel you're most satisfied with?
To be honest, I'm not really a satisfied player, so I just feel like I could have improved in all of it. But, with the training I had going on, I'm really proud of that 40, just bringing it down, running the 40 a lot. We was touching the 4.9s, the 4.8s, we touched 4.7. I was really trying to reach for that, low 4.7, but, I'll take that 4.8 any day.
That's my fault for using satisfied. Bad term right there for any athlete. So with that, I'll pass it on to my colleagues for their questions.
Yeah, I gotta say first, Michael, thanks for doing this, man. We've been impressed with you from watching you from your season and seeing you go through this process has been fun, man. We enjoy watching all you guys, reach your goals, man. So this has been pretty impressive run for you. I think on the film, man, we've been watching a lot of your tape and what your question marks would have been coming into your senior season. I thought that you probably wiped away a lot of those question marks the way you played this year. I mean, I'm most impressed with closing speed. I'm most impressed with the fact that you play with a motor and the fact that you don't take any plays off, man. I mean, I look at, some of the Power 5 guys like a Thibodeau and, some of those guys, you can find plays being taken off. And, man, I just don't see it. I mean, we watch 100 snaps from you and all 100 snaps look the same, which is pretty impressive, man. So I gotta ask you, does that tie into – is that like a leadership thing for you? Because the other thing is I'm tying into this is if I'm not mistaken, you were team captain 4 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? So, yeah. So the way you play, is that something that you try to make sure that you're always giving 100% effort? Is that like your way of nonverbal leadership?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely for my teammates, just leaving an example. Because, I'm never satisfied, so I'm always going to try and give my best for them. I just know at the end of the day, when we touch the field, I'm going to give my all. Everybody going to see that I gave my all. There's never a time, kind of like you said, I'm not going to ever leave a play out, So a lot of the things I do is, for my teammates. Coaches can coach, but at the end of the day, the players got to make something happen. So a lot of things I do for my teammates.
That's right. You can see it. You can see it in the way you play. Now, I got to ask you, you may not want to talk about this, but the grapevine is telling us that there's a particular team that took some special interest in you at Pro Day. This was yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was the 30th. Yeah. So what can you talk at all about? It looks like maybe one of the teams are really kind of scooting up, really want to see what you can do.
Yeah, they were showing love out there. We didn't have a lot of scouts out there anyway, but all it takes is just that one team to show you love. So it was, a blessing, just for them to pull me to the side, wrap it up and kind of, get things going from, how it's supposed to be when draft come around. So it was a blessing about that.
Yeah, that's right. I think you show well for yourself, and the fact that that happens, man. I mean, there's a lot of guys that would love to have that kind of an opportunity, but the fact that those people know you're gonna get you a shot, man. I don't know what exactly will make you happy, but I do know that I would bet money that you're gonna end up in a training camp with an opportunity to get a job. So I don't know if it makes a difference to you if you get drafted in later rounds or if you get in as an undrafted free agent to a team that really likes you a lot? Does it make a big difference to you?
No, not at all. At the end of the day, it's an opportunity. If I get it, I get it. I'm gonna maximize my effort with it. And I know how the game is. You're gonna get cut before you settle down with a team, so that's already settled in my head. But whoever calls up or wherever I get, you're gonna get a guy that's gonna go 110%.
That's right. That's right. And what was that? What was that transition? From SMU to HBCU football. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, what was the difference for you?
Man, it's a huge difference, just even coming from my high school, Mansfield, Timberview, and trying to mix it up with SMU, there's nothing alike. But, I just felt like I couldn't be myself at SMU when, besides football, just from the classroom, sometimes it was kind of tough, but, you can't really complain about the opportunity that, God made for you. So I did have my fun time there from coaches and players. It was an amazing time there. So by the time I made my decision that I wanted to go to TSU, and just meeting the people on campus, like, kind of just blew me away, just being able to connect with people right away without even saying, my name's Michael Badajoe. Like, look, come here, I'm going to get this for you. You want to do this? Like, it's kind of cool just the fact that you can make a connection without even introducing yourself. But it's more so a huge family base there. And, I encourage a lot of people, in that process, transferring or high school, whatever, like, definitely take a chance at HBCUs.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And you were on that before it became trendy too, man. So, you can tell that that's truly in your heart, man. So I'm glad that that has worked out for you. Now, I compare you. I don't know if you know who Bud Dupree is. Bud Dupree is a defensive end. Pittsburgh Steelers came out of Kentucky, I guess, around 2015. He's a first round draft pick. But when I'm watching his tape, we try to make pro comparisons here, but he just keeps coming back into my mind when I watch your tape versus his. And you're talking about that motor, that sideline to sideline guy, that guy that can close, So if that's who I compare you to. So I would ask you who is your pro comparison for yourself?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that, man. A lot of people don't take the time to like compare somebody. I appreciate that. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of my game, what I've seen a lot and what a lot of people been telling me as well is guys like Khalil Mack and like TJ Watt.
Mhm.
Even though this season they had me playing interior a lot just because of the sake of the team, which I didn't mind.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of stuff with like Aaron Donald, even though I'm not big as him, he's big, but that guy has a lot of motor. He's a go-getter, and that's something I see in myself and other people see as well.
that's right. That's right. I'm gonna let Coach jump in there with a question before I ask my last one.
All right, Michael. First of all, we appreciate you for jumping on, man. A nod to Omar's question. Players have a saying: "You look good, you feel good, you feel good, you play good." Us coaches have a saying: "The number doesn't make you; you make the number." But you put on the number one, you really need to come with it. And judging by your film and everything, you have done that. You really jump off the tape. So I just want to say that, and kudos to you as far as that goes. One of the questions I'll ask, and I'm kind of filling the shoes of Coach Grove here, and we always ask with the All-Star games. What was going through your mind when you got the invite for the Legacy Bowl? What were your expectations leading up to that event, and what did you think throughout the weekend? And then what doors has that opened up for you?
And it was a huge opportunity getting that. I think I was in Florida for the FCS Bowl, and as soon as that game was over, I got an email about them Legacy Bowl saying I got the invite. So it kind of like it really just opened doors for me, like because I thought I was that player that was going to get overlooked, and when I got the invite, I automatically knew like you're on the hot spot right now. Like I'm a guy that's always humble. So as soon as I got that, it was already like another grind mode. As soon as I got back to Houston, it was like, I got to get it. And I kind of expected it when I went out there, seeing all those guys out there, all those different conference, like there's some go-getters, like they're motivated. They'll die for this, So it's huge that, I was able to connect with them and being around guys like that that's motivated, to get to the next level. So even throughout the practices, throughout the week, we have so many drills, different drills I never done before. But with the coach they had there, it was kind of cool. They walk us through every little thing and kind of just, just being in a dream world. So it was really an amazing feeling.
Good deal. And so what's next for you? What's next? I know you had your pro day yesterday. What's next on the docket for Michael now?
I got invited to Perry View's pro day this morning, so I'm gonna go check it out this Saturday. I think they're starting at 9:30 or 10 a.m. So I'm gonna go check it out and kind of just go from there.
Cool. Well, best of luck to you through the process. I know Coach Williams said he got another question for you.
I got one last one for you, Michael. As a former scout, as coach scout, we've been doing this a long time. I always really try to do my homework on guys, not just the film, but I try to be a little nosy with people when it comes to social media too. And I see a guy, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I see a guy that's got some major love for mama. Am I right?
Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
So tell me how mama has helped in this process for you pushing for your dream the way you're pushing for it.
Yeah, my mom, obviously you see she's all over social media, but not even just her, just my whole family and my girlfriend as well.
Yeah.
They're very, very supportive. I knew this process was going to be, you're going to have your light days and you're going to have some dark days, and being at HBCU, I know we're getting the light going on right now, but there's still a lot of dark days in there where it's just like you feel like you're getting overlooked or, your work is just not getting enough shine. So, with my mom, she shows a lot of love. She calls me a lot. She even blows me up a lot. Even times I don't want to talk, she'll still call me, like, Anson, let me just, let's pray, and after that prayer, it just changes a lot. She does it probably every day, every other day. And she's just so motivated. She's just so hardworking. So it's just like, man, I can't let her down. I already made her proud getting, graduating. I'm about to graduate again this May with my master's. So I'm trying to make her proud, man.
That's right. You can see it. You can see that love all over, man. So if scouts are really doing their homework, they're gonna see a guy that's got some leadership skills. They're gonna see a guy that's grounded in some Christian faith, from what I can tell, and a guy that's a loyal guy too. When it comes to, I can see that interaction with you and your girlfriend as well. She runs track at Texas Southern, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I do my work, man. I do my work. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens to you, and we're gonna be pulling for you from our side. I do have one last thing. Who are you training with? Who's getting you ready for all this stuff? Who are you working with?
Yeah, I'm training at LJ Performance in Houston, Texas. I'm training with a guy named James Jefferson. I kind of been with him since really when that COVID season started. My old teammate Drew Robinson, he put me on with him. And pretty much then we just been connected all the way, and he's just been, grinding with me, even when I had, little injury problems here and there throughout the season. James is really that guy to go to, to rehab, get me right quick, so I can go perform for these showcases. So I really appreciate him.
That's right. And we're wishing you all the luck. We're gonna be keeping up with you, and hopefully once you get across that line, you won't forget us and stay in touch with us, man.
Man, most definitely, man. Like I said, I appreciate all you guys, man, for just showing love. Definitely giving me that invite for the showcase as well, man. I appreciate you guys. And, I'm just showing love to HBCUs.
That's right. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Coach, I gotta say, you're doing a great job with the journalism side, man. I mean, I thought I was a journalist here with this research you're doing, but no, that's just great. I mean, shoot, as a fellow mama's boy, it's good to see them representing. But so bring on to our next guest. We got another transfer from UNLV to Central State, the Marauders out there in Ohio, and just a guy who had an amazing year, who made the most of his opportunity after really not seeing much playing time on FBS squad. And I'm excited to see how he did it. So here we go. We got Jamal Holloway coming up, wearing that number 19, another defensive end with a low number. So he's got the juice. So
it's the trend, Omar. They all go into it now.
Yeah. So especially now with the NFL not having number limits. So yeah, there he is. We got Jamal Holloway on. Jamal, thanks for coming on, man. I got to ask you. So why 19 as a defensive end?
First thing, I just want to say thanks for having me. The reason I picked 19 because I had it in high school and I had a lot of success with it. So I was like, let me just try it for my last year and did pretty well with it.
I mean, like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that's exactly what happened. So, I got to ask, like looking at your stats, absolutely like mind blowing. Honestly, 22 tackles for loss, 84 tackles. I mean, who do you model your play off of? I mean, just to get in the backfield so often.
So one of the guys that I kind of looked up to when I was growing up was Trent Cole when he played for the Eagles, and how he was so tenacious when he backfield. I was kind of modeled on him and kind of did what I know best. You know, what I mean, just kind of going after the ball and just kind of being a guy that kind of suits being a hustle guy. So that's what I kind of did out there.
Yeah, not a bad guy to model your play off of Trent Cole. I mean, a really stalwart for the Eagles for many years. My last question before I pass it on to colleagues is: you transferred from UNLV to Central State. I guess how did the HBCU environment compare to playing at UNLV? I mean, you played, at against USC at the Coliseum. I guess like how did your experience at Central State compare to those experiences you had at UNLV?
Definitely. It's crazy kind of playing in the Coliseum. So I'm not sure how to really compare that one. That's crazy atmosphere. Just like going to Central State, just having the opportunity to actually play a lot more and actually be in there for like big time moments. You know what I mean? And being part of it, just kind of like executing my job at the same time. And it was I ain't gonna lie, it was just a wonderful feeling just being part of Central State and having the opportunity to play with them.
Absolutely. And the competition in the SEAC, I mean, was no joke as well. I mean,
Yeah.
We've had a few SEAC guys. Yeah, I know Coach Downing's he's a SEAC guy as well. So, I mean, he can attest to that as well. So, I mean, those of you watching this and thinking, Mountain West to SEAC, it's a downgrade. I mean, shoot, they got some dogs down there too. Yeah, they got some dogs down there too. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues now for their questions.
I'll let you go first, Coach.
Appreciate that, Coach. So, like Omar was saying, you look at these top players list that you guys have put together. You look at how many guys are in the SEAC. You know what I mean? So, Jamal, as we were opponents and during the season, you could speak to some of the competition in the SEAC.
It was
great. You said what now?
Gave us a butt whooping, yeah.
Hey, we don't have to talk too much about that, but I enjoyed having you on our team and on our sideline for the showdown. First thing I want to ask you is, what was it like? What was going on through your mind when you got that invitation? What were your expectations prior to getting down there? Kind of what was your experience like throughout the week, and how's that helped you going forward?
Getting the invite was kind of like a huge blessing for me because, like, for the whole season, I felt like I wasn't doing enough for us, to have more winning game. So, like, just having an invite to kind of show, like, you are doing something. You are proving that you can play in this league. You know what I mean? So, just doing that and getting that invite, and then throughout the whole week, I think it's good competition, and then just getting great coaching. I don't know. It was just wonderful for me. Just getting the opportunity to show what I can do in front of everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. And how's that helped you going forward? I know, especially particularly with this game, it's another kind of run into another question I had. We only had 4 D line, and I kept that in mind when I scripted our practices and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that helped your exposure and kind of the things that you've been up to since?
Well, I ain't gonna lie, that was fun. It was really tired, I'll tell you that right now. It definitely shows like the type of stamina that we need to have to be out there, and like it showed like consistency, and then what needed to be done for us to fix when we're tired. Because when you're tired, you start to forget what you need to do out there. Yeah. And you look sluggish, you know what I mean? So just being out there kind of helped me a lot, and then kind of helped me motivate me to kind of more parts of my game when it came to making more aggressive moves when I'm tired, or just kind of like working my hands better so I can make it easier for myself, so I'm not that tired while I'm out there at the same time. So I think that was a great part for me when I.
Good deal. Good deal. And that's a shout out to you, Coach Williams. And I've taken part in a bowl where I had 12 D linemen, and of course, trying to disperse those reps. So, only having 4 was gave our guys the maximum exposure and potential. And I gotta, we're continuing to evolve and get better at this. So, got to ask a personal question. What was your favorite thing about this coaching staff from Team Marion?
I just love how engaging everyone it was. Just like any question that we asked, like it was a detailed answer. So like it wasn't going to be anything less than what we wanted. So that's the one thing I really appreciated. And then it was like a real nice environment, real good environment, real friendly. Like everyone wanted to get each other better. So that was something I really loved about it. I honestly felt like we could probably have a whole season probably and be, gelling off each other really well. So I'm just happy that I got the chance to meet everyone and have long-term relationships with everyone.
Phenomenal answer. Coach, I'll let you roll, but Jamal, good luck, best of luck to everything, and we'll be in touch. We got the group meeting, and we've been texting, so
yep.
But best of luck to you throughout the process. Best advice to you going forward is just don't get too high in your highs and don't get too low in your lows. That's the biggest thing I can impart to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
That's right. My first question to you, Jamal, is just looking at your pro day numbers. Now you did the pro day earlier this month, if I'm not mistaken. Was that on the campus at Central State?
Nah, I went to Columbia University for mine because Central State wasn't having one this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, but looking at those numbers, man, I mean the thing that pops off the screen to me, which kind of makes me understand why you pop off the screen on your regular film, man, is the 10-yard split. And you got to tell me if that's true. I mean, you got 1.58 on your 10-yard split. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, so that explains the get off. That explains why this dude's in the backfield all the time. I mean, and the same thing we were talking about with Ajo. I mean, you one of them guys that's all over the place too, man. I mean, I think the motor's running high with you. I think
yeah.
And when you compare that 10-yard split, I mean, have you paid attention to the fact that that's faster than Hutchinson, and that's also faster than Thibodeau? Have you paid attention to that?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't really think about the 10-yard split too much because I was really trying to run at least like a 4.5 at least.
Mm-hmm.
But just from what everybody's telling me about my 10-yard split and how fast it was, like I was kind of put a little more pride in me. Like, sheesh, like I didn't realize I was that fast. So I'm still kind of working on it, get a little faster now since I got such a good number. I'm trying to build off of that now and make it even faster to show that I'm really lethal off the ball with my first step. And that's always been something that I always had, but I never like noticed it too much because like it wasn't really talked about. They always say my first step, but I ain't really noticed like how fast it really was. So I'm just kind of happy with the results with that though.
Yeah, I mean it's elite, man. I mean you start putting those kind of times down, but I mean I'm telling you, I mean it pops off the tape. I mean it's elite watching the film. So I mean you not surprised at all when I saw the number. I said wow, but I wasn't surprised at all. But so kudos to you on that, man. But I compare you just like I asked Badejo. I mean, I compare you, and I try not to go with just the conventional comparison. So some of the guys I compare you guys to, you may not have heard of, but I like to call myself a guy that really goes deep on the evaluation. But AJ Klein, who's a kid out of Iowa State. Now I currently live in Green Bay. AJ Klein was a kid that was out of Green Bay. He was a kid that grew up here in Green Bay and went and played at Iowa State. He's about 6'2"-ish, 240-ish, and was right in that 4.7 range. But he got 7 years in the league playing with the Bills. And he was another one of those guys, outside linebacker, hand down defensive end type guy that could do both, and had a high motor too, man, was all over the place. And that's what kept him in the league as long as he was. But who would you compare yourself? Now you got to go and look up AJ Klein when this is all over. But
I
who
am
do you compare yourself to?
the guy I kind of look up to right now is Max Crosby. He had a phenomenal year. Like I was blown away by him, mostly just like the finesse moves, the power moves. And I started to realize like he is somebody I look up to, but like he's about like 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking at guys that's more my size, you know what I mean? That's fast, strong, and can kind of do the same type of stuff, but at a size. So I kind of look back at guys like Von Miller. Like he's my size, like ridiculous speed. Hassan Reddick, ridiculous speed, great hands. So I'm just like I'm watching these guys more because like I can take way more because like we're the same size. So I'm starting to realize that size and hands length, arm length, all that matters now when you go into the professional. So like I really have to use that better. So I've been watching them a lot more.
That's right. That's what you got to do, especially that's one of those positions that you really do have to study, man. I mean, it's a natural position when it comes to what people can do physically, but it's also one of those things that you can continuously get better, rushing the edge, man. So I've got you as one of my top 5 edge rush guys in all of HBCU. I think all 5 of you guys are going to get some sort of a chance at the next level. So I think you're right on pace, man. But my question is, when you transferred to Central State, and I kind of know the story about coming out of UNLV and looking for a home and that sort of thing, but were you thinking, I want to try to get myself in front of NFL people? This is a move about trying to get to the pros as you made the transfer?
Yeah, every move I made was just trying to give myself a chance to get seen because I definitely wanted to go pro. The opportunity to get the looks that I feel like I needed and wanted at the same time. And I feel like I deserved it as well. It's like a lot of stuff I put myself through, constant working, and just like I just wanted the opportunity. Central State gave that to me, and I was able to make the best of it at the same time. So just going to bowl games and then having a chance to talk to a couple of scouts at the same time, blessed with it, and just like the opportunity to show what I can do on the next level.
That's right. That's right. Can you talk a little bit about some of the teams that you've discussed between our game? Did you play in the Hula Bowl too?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you played in our game and you played in the HBCU Legacy Bowl, right?
Yeah, and the FCS Bowl.
And the FCS Bowl. So could you get a feel for some of the teams? Anybody kind of talking to you a little bit or giving you a feel for some stuff?
So I talked to like 4 teams, but it was only more or less just like they just wanted to see who I was and then where I came from, basically, because I am kind of a newbie in HBCU. So they weren't really sure, like, oh, where this dude just come from. So I had to get my background of like where I came. And the teams that I talked to was Green Bay, the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Browns.
Right. And that's good. That's good to hear that you actually have some interaction with some teams, because I kind of think you're one of those guys that people, not in a bad way, but I think you're kind of a hidden guy. And I think that once people have put their eyes on you and have decided that they like you, they're probably not going to go and talk to a whole bunch of other people about you just to make sure that they don't get that buzz creeping up too much about you. So I kind of think, some of those teams that have talked to you, kind of keeping that close to the vest. And even if they're not letting you know a whole lot of stuff, I still think you're going to find yourself, creeping in the camp just because, like you said, new to HBCU, a lot of people didn't understand who you were. But when you see that get off, man, there's a reason why these people are talking to you. There's a reason why these folks are showing some interest in you. So I think 100% you're going to get yourself some sort of a shot. Did we lose him, Omar?
We might have. I don't know if he's gonna come back.
If he tries to come back, that's fine. But yeah, I'm really excited, man. I think, Coach, I don't know what you think about that, but he's how teams play this game around draft time, man. I think he's a hidden gem sort of a guy. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I really think he is, and I think that's a phenomenal assessment, coach. I mean, I've talked to a former NFL guy who said that he talked to a bunch of scouts in one of these bowl games and didn't and the team that actually took him, he didn't even hear anything from. So there are teams that sit there and they watch from afar, or they may think they can get him as for example, an undrafted, and I think if the word gets out, now we got to spend a pick on them, or things like that. I think that does happen. Like you said, there's the game within the game, right? That happens on draft weekend. So, some of the advice I tell my guys, in our first team meeting, it's just some advice in the process in general. One of which is if you get a call that weekend from a private number, put on your best customer service voice, because that's oftentimes how the NFL is going to call you. I had a kid early in my career from a school that I had coached at, and got a call on day 2 from the Steelers, and he got a call from a private number on draft weekend. Obviously, he was understandably under some anxiety and answered the phone pretty abruptly, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's off their board. So I didn't know then. Now it's something I tell the kids: if you get a call from a private number that weekend, your best customer service voice, and just other things. I tell guys throughout the weekend, if you don't get an interview with the team, I tell them that anecdote that I mentioned about somebody who got drafted or signed after from a team that never even showed any interest at all. They did their behind the scenes interviews and things like that. So,
That's right. I'm glad it looks like we got Jamal back, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I could hear y'all.
That's all right.
Lost
No,
my
it's all right. It's all good, man. My last question to you, unless Omar's got a question. My last question to you, from the homework done on you, as when I'm trying the basketball piece, man. I mean, there's a heavy basketball background with you, and so I would first ask you about, does that play any part into this elite get off? I mean, that lateral movement, being able that quick first step. Does that basketball background you think play any part in that?
I think it does part. I've been playing for most of my life, so I was always naturally like athletic, just kind of like getting rebounds, blowing by guys. So I feel like that definitely played a part in how my get off is now when I'm playing football.
Absolutely, man. And then I do have one last question: the training piece. What are you doing for training? Who are you working with? What are you working on?
So I work out at Adrenaline Sports Performance in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and I'm just kind of working on my overall body right now, trying to get more toned out, gain a little more weight. I probably want to gain like 5 more pounds, but also obviously, and also try to get myself like stronger and faster. So just just work on everything. So
now strength and weight. I mean, I'm trying to remember the pro day numbers as I'm thinking, but if I'm not mistaken, was it 239 was the weight?
Yeah, 238, 230. Yep.
Yeah, so 238 was the weight. So you want to go around 245.
Yeah.
And then the 225, I think it was 19 reps at 225, which is really respectable. That's not bad at all. But 19 reps at 225, right?
Nah, it was 17, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, trying to remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, that's still impressive though. 17 is not bad. I mean, so working on your strength and now have you picked up an agent? You don't have to tell us his name, but have you picked up an agent?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So things are going good there for you. So yeah, you got all the bases covered, man. You've done well in all the All-Star games you played in. You've got your agent working. You got these teams recognizing who you are every day. So I think you're in good shape. And like I was telling Coach and Omar, I mean, I really think you're going to be one of those guys that gets into camp, and once you get there, man, then it's all on you how you make it work. But I think the opportunity is going to come to you.
Absolutely.
So good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Omar, you got anything else?
No, I don't. I mean, I guess just to add to that too, I mean, your speed, Jamal, like special teams, man, like, if you can bust it on special teams, I mean, that'll get you like on the line and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see it too. I mean, just a guy your size, like 4'5", I guess. Yeah, I mean, what you run for your 40? I know the get off was around like 1.58, but I wasn't sure it was 4'5" or 4'6".
It was like a 4.7.
4.7, yeah. Still great speed, way faster than me. But yeah, like I mean, totally too. I mean, I can totally see special teams at first, and then like opens the door for you to get in the backfield. So I'm excited to see what you do.
Thank you.
Now, let me say this too about Jamal. Now, Jamal, coach talks about staying in touch with Jamal. Jamal, again, another one of these humble kids, man, that we are pulling for at the highest level. I mean, Jamal has done an awesome job from the first time we met him to stay in touch. I mean, I'll always get a text from him. We're always going back and forth with communication, and sometimes, most of the time, it's just Jamal checking in to say, hello, how you doing, right? And when I asked him to come on to the show, he said anything that I can do to help promote what you guys are doing with the showdown. I mean, so this is a humble kid. This is a kid that's also got those leadership skills, and that kind of personality makes you pull for kids like you, Jamal. So I'm just telling you, you got a group of fans right here, and we're gonna be watching all the transactions as they go through and pulling for you like crazy, man. So good luck to you.
Man, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it so much for having me.
100%. We appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Definitely.
Take care.
I gotta say, in terms of like we had 2 HBCU linemen on the show. Like it seems like more than any other position in the game that HBCUs have produced so much talent on the line. I mean, you go way back, guys like Buck Buchanan, Alvin Bethea, guys like that, and even John Randall too. Like in the '90s, of course, I gotta forget about John Randall, and then even to this day, like Robert Mathis. Guy like just so much depth on the line for HBCUs. It seems and there's just so many guys that I just forgot because I mean Ed Too Tall Jones. I mean just so many guys that HBCUs are producing. I mean I'm glad to see these 2 guys who are really carrying on that tradition too. So it'll be fun to see which team gets a chance. And even then, so looking at this from a journalist perspective, even if like a team like the Texans gives Michael Badgio a chance, that's a hometown guy. That's probably going to sell a lot of preseason tickets. Who's going to preseason games other than degenerates like myself? But and even a guy from Central State, even a guy like Jamal from Central State, that's Cleveland Browns. That's tickets right there. So even if by ways of making money, like these guys get their chance, like as long as they get their chance, I mean I'm sure they're gonna shine. So that's my closing thought on our 2 guests.
Yeah.
Spot on. Yep.
So I guess we're gonna wrap it up with a discussion that Coach brought up about the Florida A&M Pro Day going from 0 pro scouts, and I believe the was it 2019 or was it 2020 or early 2020?
That would have been 2019.
Okay, so after 2018 season. Okay. So yeah, so just 3 years ago, I mean, the Florida A&M Pro Day had 0 pro scouts, and this year 28 pro scouts came out. And I got to say, this was a couple weeks after Coach Sanders came on the net and was like, hey, no one came down to these 8 teams didn't come down to Jackson, Mississippi. And I got to say, I can't blame the NFL scouts because if you give me a choice to go to Tallahassee or Jackson, Mississippi, no disrespect to the people of Jackson, Mississippi, I'm going to choose Tallahassee every single time, especially this time of year when it's starting to get nice out. I mean, so, but what are you guys' thoughts? Like all joking aside, what are you guys' thoughts on this sort of, I guess, increasing awareness of the players in HBCU football?
I mean, I think it's awesome, man. I mean, we all trying to be part of that. I mean, coaches living that life every day. I mean, we all want to be a part of this change, man. But that was a low day 3 years ago when FAMU had 0 pro scouts come out. And, I think that's probably, quiet as kept. That's probably the time where people really started to pay attention to that. There's some catching up that needs to happen for HBCU football. Now, it's hit its peak now once you start adding in, guys like Primetime and Eddie George and Hugh Jackson, all these guys, it's starting to hit its peak when it comes to people, the really heavy voices being involved with this. But, it's a really good time. So I'm proud of what's happening at FAMU when you see what happened 3 years ago to what happened now. And I even think Coach Simmons said it. I mean, this is this is a big move in the right direction. So for him to get, I don't know the exact number, but for him to get somewhere 28 to 30 scouts on his campus for pro day when 3 years ago there were no scouts, I mean, it tells you not only is the program working to make sure that exposure is coming to those kids, but at the same time the NFL is listening, man. I mean, I really think the league is listening, and the league's doing some really good things, and even for us, man. I mean, we had a bunch of scouts, show up into the rural part of Alabama, Selma, Marion, Alabama. So I just think that the league is listening. I think the HBCU Legacy Bowl had a really good turnout, if not all of the teams. Same thing with the HBCU Combine, if not all of the teams. So the league is listening, and that's the biggest key. The league, as long as the league is listening, you may not always be happy with the numbers at every pro day, right? But the league is listening, and I think, and we're doing our part from the HBCU side to put the light on these kids. So I think, the sky's the limit, and the arrow's definitely pointing up.
100%. I couldn't agree more, Coach, especially with the combine that's going on. And that was big for the league to get behind that and have that be part of Senior Bowl weekend. I'd like to see some of the invitees, the numbers be bigger. We talk about the NFL combines, 380 something kids versus, what was it, 50, 52, 48, something like that. But I think that, in time, hopefully we push that up a little bit, you know what I mean? But, they're starting to wrap their head around it, like we talked about a few weeks ago when I was on, and that's great. That's great, as they should embrace it, you know what I mean, and invest more in it. So 100%, so spot on, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and Coach Williams, you got to say, I mean, the scouts coming to rural Alabama, well, not an easy drive at all. I know my cell phone lost service about an hour along the way, so not an hour, maybe 30 minutes along the way. But again, people are willing to see these events. All jokes aside, people are willing to see these events, to see these players really work. I mean, because everyone points to Teron Armstead, Darius Leonard, Tariq Cohen, but guys out here can ball. Guys in HBCUs can ball. So. Really excited for the future holds. Hopefully, it's not a fad, but it's something that's here to stay. So that's really all I got to say about that.
That's right. I think it's definitely here to stay, because not only that, I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of kids. I mean, there's kids now that have opened up their options when it comes to attending HBCUs. So I think as the talent level grows and the talent pool gets larger, then 4 years from now we're gonna be looking at all kinds of kids with shots at going to the pros. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna see a high number from this game getting opportunities. I really do, and so that'll be good. That'll be good. We'll continue to cycle them through, right, Coach?
That's right. That's what we do, man. That's what we do. It's gonna be fun, man. We on this grind together. We appreciate you for doing this, Coach, coming in and everybody should know, Coach came in here on basically a 1 hour notice. Coach Grove couldn't get in tonight, and Coach Downing quickly said, I got your back. So we appreciate you for coming in here, Coach, and we're going to be bugging you again for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks again, Coach, for coming on short notice and being our Tom Brady to in our Drew Bledsoe situation. But no, it was great. Always a pleasure. And I think this brings this episode to a close. You guys have anything final to say?
Oh, I think it was a good show. We had some good guys, and enjoy hanging out with y'all as always.
Coach Bro, look out, I'm coming for your spot. We know what happened.
Yahtzee. We'll try to edit that out. So hopefully there's no bad feelings.
But I got to add the levity to it,
Yeah, that's right.
But until next time, same bad time, same bad channel for the HBCU Pigskin podcast. Until next time, peace, love, and soul, everyone.
All right, see y'all. Appreciate it.